If you're sailing on a Disney cruise, there are so many things included in the price of your cruise. However, there are a few special bookable extras you may want to budget for. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly which bookable extras you may want to consider, exactly how and when you need to log on to book them to secure the bookings that you're after. If we've not met before, hi, my name's Rhiannon Morgan. Everyone calls me Rhi, and welcome to the channel. Here you'll find all things Disney Cruise, Disney Parks, plus magical adventures in the UK too. Everything from planning to packing to making the most of your days, with special bonus tips for neurodiverse families too. The first thing we need to think about is exactly when you can book these bookable activities, because until your bookable activity window opens, you are not even going to be aware of which bookable activities are going to be available on your specific cruise. And it will vary from ship to ship, sailing to sailing, depending on what's available on board, how many nights you're sailing for, all those kind of things. You're going to want to log in as soon as your booking window opens to ensure you've got the most selection and the best shot of getting those bookable activities that you're after. When you're able to book in, it depends on your Castaway Club status. The Castaway Club is Disney Cruise Line's loyalty scheme, and you move further through the Castaway Club depending on how many times you've sailed with Disney Cruise Line. All of the details can be found on the Disney Cruise Line website and also inside my magical cruise planner. By the way, if you are planning a Disney cruise, you're going to need to grab one of these. You can grab a printed book copy to be delivered direct to your door so you can plan with it and take it with you when you sail, or a digital copy that you can fill in on an iPad or print out as many times as you want for personal use. It is the best way to plan your Disney cruise. I'll leave all the details below. When your booking activity window opens, you can log in and see what's available to book. And here are some of the things you may expect to find. One of the things you'll be able to book when your booking window opens is specialty dining. Now, I went into this in depth in my video about adult only dining, where we specifically focused on the Disney Fantasy, which is sailing from the UK in 2025, and the Disney Dream, which is sailing from the UK in 2026, but I felt it was worth mentioning briefly here too. If you are sailing on either of those ships and you're looking to get the specialty dining reservation, especially in Paolo because it's more likely to sell out than Remy, I'd highly recommend logging in at 5 a.m. UK time when your booking window opens. This is midnight Florida time, so the very first minute of the day of your booking window. And while other bookable activities that we'll mention later in the video are less likely to sell out, adult only dining, especially Paolo, spots are likely to sell out quickly. I'll link that video below so you can watch it later if you've not caught it yet. Now, while you'll find alcoholic drink packages available to book on lots of cruise lines, it's not something Disney Cruise Line offers. Alcoholic drinks are a chargeable extra, whether you're having them with your meal or at a bar, but those are on a pay-as-you-go basis on board the ship. With anything that you pay for on the ship, these will either be added to your Key to the World card or Magic Band Plus for the charges to be added to your room for when you settle your final bill, or you can pay with a credit or debit card. But there are still alcoholic packages that you can book in advance, and these come in the form of specialty beverage seminars and tastings. Options may include champagne tastings, wine tastings, mixology classes, bourbon tastings, whiskey tastings, tequila and margarita tastings. These experiences are in high demand and generally sell quite quickly. When we sailed on the Dream last year, we did our first wine tasting on board the Disney Cruise Line. It was a very enjoyable experience and I learnt a lot. It was held in the Pink Champagne Bar, and the location was given to us when we got on board, because as with many activities on the Disney Cruise Line, you don't find out exact details until you board the ship, and then your Disney Cruise Line navigator app lights up with so much information as soon as you join the ship's Wi-Fi. So the wine class was super enjoyable. I'm glad we did it. We even got a special souvenir pin, but I'd be quite happy that's a one-off thing. And considering we paid the same price for the wine tasting as we did for Paolo brunch, although I'm glad we've done it, I'd probably go for the brunch next time. Another onboard activity that you can book are the sports simulators. Our son did both of these last time we cruised. They're found on Goofy Sports Deck. Will did both the Goofy Golf and the Goofy Sports Simulator last time we sailed. They are chargeable extras, but unfortunately on both occasions during that sailing, the simulators kept crashing, so they ended up refunding the experience, so we didn't actually have to pay for anything. Again, these bookings do fill up quite quickly, so if you're keen to get one of these to try, you're going to need to be aware of when your booking window opens and get things booked as soon as you can. Another bookable extra that you can choose for kids is the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Our girls have done the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique twice, once on the Wish and once on the Dream, and both experiences were completely magical. I have got an entire video coming up all about the Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique, the entire experience, which choices are available, how to maximize that experience. So make sure you are subscribed with bell notifications on if you're interested in that. And in fact, if you're enjoying this video, I would really love it if you would hit the subscribe button, because it really helps to support the channel. Another princessy experience that's bookable on the Disney Cruise Line, which is a little bit more than the Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique and actually sells out quicker, is Royal Court Royal Tea. This experience is chargeable for both the adults and the children that attend, whereas if you're going to the Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique, it's just the children you pay for and the adults go along and supervise. But for Royal Court Royal Tea, you're going to be paying for both. It's a character dining experience where the children enjoy themed treats, gifts, and time with the Disney princesses. It's not something that our girls have done yet. Perhaps next time we cruise, it's something I'm going to be looking at booking. This one definitely sells out really quickly. On to some grown-up options, and on board the Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy, they have Senses Spa, where you can book spa and salon treatments. Although you could head to Senses Spa when you're on board to see if they have any availability, and often day passes are available, this is an option that you can book before you sail. Services include massages, facials, and other treatments. They have a rainforest room where you can relax and chill out. And for a top tip, there are often discounts to be found on port days, where lots of people are not on the ship. So while the gym area attached to Senses Spa is included in your cruise and can be used without having to book for unlimited sessions during the time that you sail, the salon and spa treatments will need to be booked either before you sail or just before you actually have the treatment, and are all charged as a bookable extra. Something else you can book before you sail are in-room gifts and celebration packages. Disney Cruise Line offers pre-orderable gifts that can be delivered to your stateroom, including celebration packages for birthdays, anniversaries, or honeymoons, merchandise bundles, snack and beverage packages, and even special occasion cakes. Honestly, one of the best things we ever had from Disney Cruise Line was the romance package, which included 2 beautiful robes, which we still wear all the time at home, some bubbly, and chocolate. It worked out a much better deal than buying the Disney Cruise Line robes in the shop, and I think the robes were actually much nicer too. These need to be booked through the Disney Cruise Line's gifts and amenities page. One thing I'd highly recommend you booking before you cruise is the photography package. Now, you can technically book this when you get on the ship, but you're going to get a bit of a discount if you book it before you sail. If you are like me and you're always the one behind the camera, so the most photos you're in are selfies, it's really nice to have some proper family photographs taken. There are photographers that can be found around the ships, ready to take pictures. Photographers come around at dinner, and there are also photographers at character meet and greets. For me, these photographs have been worth every penny in order to capture some of those magical Disney memories. They used to give you a memory stick with all of your photographs on it, but now it can be downloaded, a QR code on the ship, logging in and downloading all of your photographs, which you can download without using something else that you may want to pay for on the Disney Cruise Line, which is upcharged Wi-Fi. Now, in order to access the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app on board, or to just use iMessage to message other members of your party, you can use the standard Disney Cruise Line internet, and that is complimentary and included with your cruise. However, if you want to access the wider internet, you are going to need to pay for upcharged internet access, and this can be quite pricey. So have a think if this is something you're really going to need during your cruise, or if you can manage with just the basic onboard Wi-Fi in order to access the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app and contact guest services or other members of your party that you're sailing with. Something else that's obviously a chargeable extra on board will be merchandise and shopping. Now, most of this obviously is not bookable before you go, but do make sure you save some of your pennies for some shopping on board. The merch on the Disney Cruise Line is amazing. Now, with the Disney Cruise Line sailings in the UK, the merchandise levels have tended to fluctuate somewhat. Now, when we first sailed on the Magic, it was the Disney Magic at Sea, it was COVID. So obviously the merchandise levels were low because there were real global problems with transporting things around the world. When we sailed on the Disney Dream the first time, the merchandise levels were quite low, especially for things like Loungefly and Spirit jerseys. When we sailed on the Wish, now obviously the Wish goes out of Port Canaveral, which is Disney Cruise Line's home port. The merchandise supplies were plentiful throughout the entire sailing. And on the 2024 Disney Dream sailings, I had reports of there being all sorts of sizes of spirit jerseys and Loungefly available throughout the cruises. Now, by the time we cruised at the end of August, the supplies were a lot lower. They had no Loungefly left. And again, they had limited sizes of spirit jerseys. So I don't know whether it's just the Brits all just panic and love to queue, or we're just much bigger Disney fans, or there's less supply. But I've definitely noticed that the merch supplies on the UK sailings haven't been quite as plentiful as the ones from Port Canaveral, for obvious reasons. Port Canaveral is the home port. That's where all the merch is stored. So if there are things that you're thinking about buying on the Disney Cruise Line and you did the ring, my suggestion would be to purchase it, add it to your room bill, and you could always return it, obviously in unused condition with tags on, before you disembark the ship. But if you have something in your hand, you're thinking about buying it and you put it down, it's not necessarily going to still be there later in the sailing. I'm just warning you. Something else that you might want to look at booking when your bookable window opens are port excursions. And if you want to learn all about port excursions on the Disney Cruise Line, which ones you should be booking, pros and cons, and some top tips for saving money, make sure you click on the video on screen now, hang out with me a little more, get some early release videos inside of my Patreon, or check out the playlist, which is full of Disney Cruise Line tips for before you sail to make your cruise magical. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.